Hello YouTube, Megumi Mary here, back home in Maine. I guess that's the main idea. That was a bad joke, and I apologize. So, anyone who knows me personally knows that I am an aspiring writer, because I won't shut up about it. And as a writer, I have noticed that there are certain writing techniques and plot points that are used a lot. And sometimes they can be used for good purposes. Other times they can be misused. I would like to discuss, in my own opinion, the pros and cons of these plot points, writing techniques, whatever you want to call them, and discuss their good applications, their bad applications, and how I like to see them used. So, looking at the results of my poll on Twitter, of which there are actually 3 votes, I'm impressed I got that many. We can see that the winner was love triangles. That'll be easy. Right? Love triangles are notorious for dragging down plots, and wait, this is YouTube, so if I'm going to be discussing anything about plot points and stuff, I should probably put out the spoiler warning. A spoiler warning has been issued for this video. If you are the kind of person to complain about stuff like that, please close the window immediately. You have been warned. Love triangles is a way to force conflict in a romantic storyline by throwing a competitive element into the mix. You know, you got person A, person B, and then person B likes person C. And in the case of Legend of Korra, persons A and C end up together while person B goes sit in the corner moping about how he's not really Zuko. I did throw up the spoiler alert. But the question is, why do plots need to be dragged out in the first place? Well, most of the time a romantic storyline is a subplot that is building up alongside the main plot, and sometimes it can lead to some pretty decent character development in the main plotline. Other times it can just come across as making your character that you're supposed to be rooting for look like a complete asshole. I'm looking at you, Avatar Korra. However, in the pro category, comedy can work wonders with a love triangle dynamic. Most of the humor from the show Friends came between seeing Ross and Rachel in awkward situations when one was dating another person. You knew the two were going to end up together. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen with it. But it was so interesting to see it play out in a comedic sense. How I Met Your Mother was a great example of using the love triangle in a good sense for both comedic and dramatic effect. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to assume that How I Met Your Mother's humor is very close to Friends' humor, and they did a really good job with the love triangle in comedic senses. But what do I mean about dramatic senses? Well, I'm sure those of us who have actually watched the show know that it can get pretty dramatic at points, especially where Ted and Robin were concerned. I mean, the whole premise of the show was that he was not going to end up with Robin. The last season of the show, Ted was trying to put his feelings for Robin aside because he cared about Robin and Barney so much that he was willing to put the happiness of others above his own happiness. And it really speaks to his character, and he struggles the entire last season trying to put his feelings to Robin aside so that he can go and meet the mother and have a happy life with her. You know, before she dies and he ends up with Robin anyway. And of course, this leads me to my favorite application of the love triangle plotline. The I want what makes you happy resolution. You have characters that are trying to develop. And sometimes love triangles bring them about in this really, really ugly light. And yeah, even if they do end up with a character or they don't end up with a character, it's still really hard to see a lot of the choices that they make. I love it when the main character puts their own happiness aside for the happiness of the person that they're in love with. And it is probably one of the best ways to bring about a nice resolution to the love triangle dynamic. Because not only are you, giving a story justice, but you're portraying your character as someone who has developed emotionally and is willing to sacrifice their happiness for others. And that is the kind of character that you want to be rooting for. Hell, even Fry from Futurama did this really well. I mean, the thing about Fry is that he's a lovable idiot. But by giving up on Leela in that first direct-to-DVD movie, he is painted as a character who is able to make the best call. And it doesn't feel forced either. It feels really genuine. It feels like he realizes that he may never have the love of his life, but that doesn't mean the love of his life can't have the love of their life.